Hey guys, it's time for my annual spring bear hunting gear list pack dump here. Hunt's coming up end of April. It's a 3-day trip. Pretty excited about it, so got to do a video about what the gear I'm going to be running for this spring. Got some new additions and stuff like that, which I'll run throughout the course of this video. But starting off, I'm going to be going with the 44 mag, the new 44 mag from us. For accessories, I have the medium belt pouch here, large belt pouch below it, and then on the side, water bottle pocket with a Nalgene. Then going right on into clothes that I'm going to be wearing into the hunt. For hat, this is our Kifaru foam hat. Fast drying, very lightweight and stuff like that, so been good. And then for a base layer, this is the Go Hunt Approach hoodie. Loved it. I love a synthetic base layer, kind of just fast drying. I don't really worry about stink because I stink just in general because I sweat a lot. But yep, the Go Hunt Approach hoodie, used this all last year, loved it. And then for a base or a mid layer, this is our Kifaru grid fleece. Loved it, used it all last season, performed great. Fast drying, another synthetic, but just a good base layer. I'll have it wearing in, especially for these early April or late April, early May hunts. It's going to be colder, but as the season progresses, I'll probably just be hiking with that approach hoodie. But that's there. My mom got these little fish sacks, underwear. I've always been using sacks for probably the last 5 years. Have loved them, so got a pair there underneath. For socks, this is our Kifaru merino socks right here. Performed great, very good. Sometimes I'll have another pair in my bag, but for this kind of hunt, a weekend trip, I just bring one pair, stuff like that. For pants, this year, I'll be going back to the tried and true KU attack pants. Very good, very durable. Have used these and loved these for a long time, and ready to use them again this spring. Good, in between hunts, very good for that May, time frame, April, colder. You can layer with them and stuff like that. Just good all season kind of pant. But that's just a rundown of the gear that I'm wearing in on the hunt. But now I'm going to go into the pack and what I have inside the pack, and we're going to kind of segment it out. So we're going to go right into what we have next inside the pack and see what we got. So you've already seen the stuff and clothes that I'm going to be wearing into on the hunt. That's going to be on me, but this is the clothes that is packed into my bag. Nothing's really changed much besides this with the Go Hunt Atmosphere jacket. So this is a nice active insulation piece. Just being able to get out, you can hike in this, which is nice. If it's really cold out, throw this over your, your mid layer and hike with it. I've been using it most of this winter and then into this early spring, and I've loved this. It's probably going to be a staple piece for me going out throughout the year. Just a good light piece and cuts wind and everything like that. And then for puffy jacket, the tried and true full zip Lost Park parka. Had this for a long time, and it's went through hell and back, and still very, very much never going to stop. But yep, the reinforced stomach lining, the elbows and stuff like that. I shot a deer last year in Montana in some rocky terrain where very cold out. Just laid down prone, shot it, didn't get any holes inside my parka. So yep, that's always going to be in my pack for my puffy system. And then for rain jacket, I don't really carry a full rain system in the sense of pants and jacket. I have gaiters on and stuff like that when I'm hiking around, but if I'm getting in a big rainstorm, not going to be hiking much, so I just throw the sheep tarp over and stuff like that. But if I'm going to be hiking, there's a good little spurt coming, I just being able to throw on a light jacket. This is the Outdoor Research Helium jacket, just super compact, very lightweight. Just being able to throw this on and keep a little layer so you're not just completely soaked, but this will be in my pack for this kind of style of hunt where I'm not going to be getting drenched the whole time, but just thrown over for a flash layer and stuff like that. And then for bottoms, this is the KU full zip merino bottoms for long johns. I run pretty hot, especially my legs, so I don't really bring puffy pants in hunts like this. Just being able to throw these on in the early mornings, and then being able to dump them off with the full zip. So I just put my pants down, unzip them, then you're good to go. So this, spring and kind of this early spring, this will always be in my packs. Just the KU merino long johns. Always have a beanie with me. This is our just Kifaru merino beanie. Obviously glassing in the morning and stuff, being able to throw this on, but at night just throwing over your head, get a little extra warmth when you're sleeping. But yep, this is just our Kifaru merino beanie. Onto gloves. Early part of spring, it's going to be cold in the mornings and stuff like that, and I'm going to be glassing a lot. It's nice being able to have down mittens. These are from Outdoor Research, and they've been pretty awesome. you know, pretty durable so far and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not going to be hiking in them. If I were hiking or get something against the twig, it would tear this open. But just when I'm sitting down glassing, it's nice to have these, you know, down mittens on you, ready to go. For a more durable glove and good warmth, this is the Q Guide Glove. Obviously, leather texture here, so when you're hiking around, you have them on. You're not going to tear them apart and anything like that. I've had these for a long time, and they've been very durable and have worked great. So these will always be in my pack, especially on these early spring hunts, and maybe as it gets into later, you know, May and June and stuff like that, these probably won't be in my pack. But just a nice, you know, durable piece to have. And then for the last, and kind of anything I always have, is our fingerless gloves here. You know, I like having these fingerless, like merino gloves. These are ours, and they're nice. Just being able to hike around with them, you kind of have another layer. You could throw these on and throw your mittens on when you're glassing to have another, you know, a little bit of warmth. But these have been pretty tried and true and very durable and have worked great for me last year and continue to use them. But yep, that's just a quick rundown, you know, of the system that I've been running. The only kind of things I've changed is this atmosphere hoodie or full zip jacket from Go Hunt, and this is probably the most exciting piece that I have in terms of my layering system. But excited to use that this spring and everything like that. But just a good rundown, and we'll go on to the next. Alright, so I'm going to do a rundown of the rifle that I'm going to be using this spring, and the rifle that I've been using the last 3 years. This is a build from Viking Armament, which is a 7PRC with a 20-inch barrel and with an XLR chassis. The reason I do a 7PRC and why I have chose that in the first place was that the broad range of species that I can shoot with it. You know, from deer species to moose and stuff like that. The bullet I use is a 175 grain ELDX from Hornady. Very good bullet. I've seen great performance from bear and all the way up. For the bipod that I have on this is the Mountain Gear Backcountry bipod. Super lightweight, easy to adjust and stuff like that. I haven't had any issues with it. For the scope on top, this is the Leupold VX6 HD 3-18. So the reason for the 3-18, you know, when you have 3 power, you're still hunting, sneaking up on animals and stuff like that, pop up and be able to shoot it real fast and get on target. For the 18 power, let's have that extra magnification for longer shots and being able to get a little closer and also execute a good shot. Things that go hand in hand, like with your setup, is going to be a good rangefinder. The rangefinder that I use is the Sig Sauer 8K. So this is a system where they have an app, a Sig Sauer app, that you put in all your ballistics, everything like that with your scope, into that app, and then it's going to transfer from the app to the rangefinder. So when I get on target or I see an animal, I just range it, it'll get the yardage, and it'll account for the angle, barometric pressure, anything like that, and be able to dial it to the MOA that it shows you on the rangefinder itself. So it'll tell you the number, dial to it, get on target and shoot. Been using that the last 3 years and I've had great results. And you know, with this rifle build, it's just very good. You know, I don't like to go super lightweight or have it super heavy. So right around poundage wise, it's right around 9 pounds. I find that to be able to lock on target, be able to get those comfortable shots where I'm not moving much, but also not too heavy when I'm backpacking and everything like that. So just a quick rundown of my rifle setup and why I use the 7PRC. And if you guys want to build something like this or build something different caliber, different configuration, hit up Grant at Viking and get you guys, you know, one built. But yeah, so that's the reason I run this and plan on running it for many years, to knock down a lot of bears. Okay, so for the boots that I'm going to be using this spring, I'm going to kind of mix it up for each style of hunt, especially starting in that April timeframe of spring hunts going into, you know, May and June. I'm going to kind of switch it up. For the first part of April and early May, I'm going to be using a leather boot. So this is the Crispy Nevada 200 grams insulated boots. I like to have that leather boot, especially in the colder weather, but also when it gets wet and stuff like that. Just condition them up and they're good to go. So this has been a tried and true, at least insulated leather boot for me, is the Crispy Nevadas. For the later season, as it gets later into spring, I like to have a lighter weight, you know, breathable boot. These are the Zamberlin Balturo Lights. These have been an awesome boot for me. They have a little bit more flex and kind of moving around in terrain, but also pretty breathable, very waterproof and stuff like that. But a very, very good boot for me. And for the insoles, what I'm going to kind of switch out of each boot is the sheep feet here. And these I've been using for a while now. Been getting pretty tore up. But sheep feet is a custom orthotic. So you go in, if you're at a show or anything like that, you can get it scanned. And now it's just a scan. With their phone. When I first did and got these, you had to like imprint your foot into a cast and then they'd get it made for you. But very good orthotic and has been pretty tried and true for me, and I'll always be using them on hunts, is the sheep feet. But pretty quick rundown of the boots that I'm going to be wearing, you know, between a leather boot and also a synthetic, just starting from early season into the later season of spring. But pretty tried and true for me. All right, so onto my optics and kind of what I run for really any backpack hunt that I've been running for several years now. The only thing I've kind of changed in, you know, the recent year and stuff like that was a tripod. This is the Tricer BC tripod. So it's a sit-down tripod. You know, I like being comfortable, especially when I'm backpacking, just being able to sit down in glass. Never been a kind of stand-up, you know, glassing kind of guy. So having a short, compact tripod is nice and, you know, pretty lightweight. I really loved this tripod last year, kind of one of my highlight gear items for the year. So I'm excited to keep running it this year. But for the head on top, this is the Tricer LP pan head, you know, pretty light, compact. I like having a pan head. You know, I've used ball heads in the past and just never could really get them down or, you know, be comfortable with them. So I just like having a good solid pan head that's going to hold my spotter when I'm looking at animals and everything like that in high winds. So this has been pretty solid and very compact, so it's been nice to be able to throw in the side pocket of my bag or just strap it onto the back. And then for bino adapter, this is something I always get asked about because it's the Swarovski universal adapter. So it's just being able to slide it on. It's ARCA compatible, so it fits a lot of tripods and everything like that. Throw it on there, cinch it on, put your binos on and cinch it over. The reason I do that and don't have a stud on my, you know, my bino itself, I like being able to throw this on, strap it over, but if I'm hunting with people, something I've been doing years past is just taking people out and they've never really ran this system. It's nice for them just to throw their binos on there, being able to cinch it over, and then they can kind of see how it works. You know, just kind of helping people out and stuff like that. But it's been very solid, very durable, and it's not, you know, very heavy at all. And just being able to strap it over and then start glassing. For spotting scope, this is the marsupial spotting scope cover. Pretty, you know, very durable and everything like that. As you can see, it's had many years of use and abuse, but it's been pretty solid, keeping my optics protected. And for spotting scope, been using this probably the last, you know, 3 years now. The Swarovski 80mm ATS spotting scope. Very solid. I love the glass on it. I mean, I don't plan on changing anytime soon. Obviously, Swarovski has a name, and I was going to spend the money because, you know, I hunt so much, and I like having that little extra advantage if I can. So I've been loving this spotting scope and continue to run it. And for phone adapter system for getting videos and stuff like that, this is the all-in capture system. Having that, you know, you have your eyepiece on there, throw your phone on, you got it on video, just clicks on, you can start recording everything. Just pretty quick and easy to throw on there, and just a lot easier than some systems in the past that I've used. So don't plan on changing anything like that this year. Just going to continue to use all-in. And then on to binos, stuff like that. Bino harness, this is a medium Kifaru harness from us, and then the only thing that's changed, I guess, on that is the yoke system. So as you can see, we've dropped the new yoke system now. We've been, you know, including I, were testing this all last year. Finally got a good finished model. So I'm excited to be using that all season and everything like that. And for binos, right here, this is the Zeiss Victory SF 10x42s. I think I've had these for about 6 years now. Just like with spotting scope and binos, I like having very good glass, and obviously, you know, these two are heavy hitters in that market, and, you know, good under low light, very good clarity, edge to edge. But I've loved these binos and continue to use them for many years. But the binos there, and then on the bino harness itself and how I kind of run it, especially for rifle hunts. When I'm archery hunting, I just take this admin pouch off, run it pretty slick. When I'm rifle hunting, I like to have some extra, you know, ammo with me. Right there, I have the admin pouch with the cartridge holder in there. I have 5 rounds in there. So when I'm hunting, I have 3 rounds in the mag of the gun. I have 5 rounds on me, and then 5 rounds in the pack itself. So that's 13 total rounds. And if I've shot 13 shots and haven't killed anything, then I'm gonna go home. So just have that at the ready, you know, ready to go. And then on the side, I always have wind checker, especially bears. Obviously, you know, their scent, you know, being able to smell stuff is very good. So I like to be able to get to a canyon, check where the wind's going, and then get to where I need a glass to, you know, go to that wind. So I have a wind checker in the side. Then I showed you guys in the rifle video, but this is the Sig Sauer 8K. Very good rangefinder for me and has worked awesome. So have that at the ready on the side. But yeah, that's just a quick rundown of my optic system, and it's been pretty tried and true for me. Okay, so for the sleep system that I'm going to be using this spring and what I have been using the last few years, for the main part in the shelter, this is the Hilleberg Acto, which is a one-person tent, 4-season. The reason I like to have that, the big swings in, April and May that can cause weather to come in, snow, or be sunny the next day. I like to have a pretty good sturdy tent in the high winds and stuff like that. So I've always trusted the Hilleberg Acto. Very sleek, very low profile in the wind, but also being able to withstand snow. And it's ease of setup. So it only takes me like 5 minutes to probably set this thing up, and then even less to tear down. And the reason I like that is for when I want to move spots, say after a day or even 2 days and I haven't seen anything or any bears in the spot, I can package everything up and then hit the ridge and start to a new spot. I love the Hilleberg, anything. I have other tents from them and love them. But for this style of hunt, I just like to have the Hilleberg Acto single person 4-season tent. For the sleeping bag, this is the 20-degree slick bag from us, which you can have a 0 degree because of the swings in weather. But for me, I like to have a little bit lighter weight, but also I'm a warm sleeper, and I also sleep with my clothes on, so that's actually heat. But I've taken this 20-degree bag down to 15, and stuff like that if it gets really cold. But it's nice to have it, and packs down super compact in the 5-string medium stuff sack. But for a 20-degree bag, it does really, really well. For a sleeping pad, this is the Thermarest Neo Air X Lite. It's a 4.5 R value, which is good. When it's cold ground, it's still going to keep you warm. I also used to use and still have is the X Therm, which is a 6 around there R value, and it does great. I just had a little problem with it. The baffles blew in it on the moose hunt. But their customer service is great, and I still trust that that pad itself. But for this hunt, I'm going to be using the Thermarest Neo Air X Lite. Super light, it's 13 ounces, being able to throw in there. Compact's in the size of like an Nalgene. For the pillow, I'm a big pillow guy. I used to not. I used to just roll up, my puffy and then just sleep on it. But after getting like a pretty good pillow, I cannot hike anywhere without it. This is the Nemo Pillow. Expands pretty good size, really comfy. Been using this for a while now, so good pillows always help for good sleep. When you're backpacking and exerting a lot of energy, it's hard to sleep at night, but when you have a good system and are very comfortable, you get that rest that you need for the next day. So this is the system that I'm going to be using this spring, and that I have been using really the last 3 or 4 years, and probably won't change for a while because it's pretty dialed for me. But if you guys have any questions about this certain products and why I use it, kind of detailed a little bit more, feel free to reach out. So onto the water and kind of food system that I run for basically any backpack hunt I have. I'm going to have this kind of system here. It's going on to water and what I carry. This is just a 32 ounce, Kifaru Nalgene. Like to have that at the hip and ready to go. I've never been a big bladder guy. Just like having the Nalgene at the hip, I feel like I drink more water when I have this. And in the spring, there's going to be a lot of runoff. So there's going to be water pretty plentiful. So you can just go down and fill your water up at each, little runoff or stream and stuff like that. But have that on my hip and ready to go. For sterilization, kind of filtration, I just have a SteriPen. Never really been that kind of guy that brings a platypus and stuff like that. But they're still, those are very good options. And if you want to make sure you don't have floaties in your water, that's something I just don't care about. I'm just going to get water. So if there's little floaties in there, just sterilize it and I'll just drink it. Gets you a little extra protein. But the SteriPen, kind of my main filtration system, but then I'll have MSR like aqua tabs in my safety kit, just in case, you get into a really sketchy water system or water, situation, and I just need to filter something real fast and make sure that it's clean. I'll have those aqua tabs ready. And then for bladder, at least what I carry in my bag, this is the MSR 6-liter Droom Light. So as you can see, I've had a lot of uses with this over the years. Never have had any leaks or anything like that. Pretty solid, and it's nice being able to get to camp. You can fill this up, put it next to your tent, when you have to, boil water in the morning for coffee or just late night for dinners, and just have water there before you start hiking out. You can also fill this up, put in, iodine tablets or the aqua tabs into this if you want to filter it in the bag, or just pour it into your Nalgene and then use the SteriPen to sterilize it. But always have this in my pack for backpack trips. And then on to food and kind of cook system. This is the Jetboil Flash. I've had this for a long time. It's been pretty beat up. I should probably clean it. So this here, the stove goes into it, and then you have a little isobutane can inside. This will last me a weekend or 3 days and stuff like that pretty easily. If you're going to be going for like a week and stuff like that, you probably want to bring a couple of these or a bigger one. But for this kind of trip, I just have a small isobutane can. Fits in the side here, slides down there, and then I have the stove that goes on top, and then just put that up, compact pretty well, right there. And then for food, this is our Kifaru Mega Ultralight Pullout for weekend trips, 2 days, 3 days. You can even fit like 4 days worth of food in here. I like to have this so I can just throw this in the bag and be ready to go. For food, it's just individual bags into 1 gallon Ziploc bags. I like doing this, and like a lot of people do, and you've seen this everywhere. It's just so you have your full day's worth of food, and by the end of the day, you want to make sure that you eat all this food in there, to get your nutrition, everything like that. That's something that's big when you're backpacking, is to make sure that you're fueled up. When I was younger and stuff like that, I would skimp on food, just go a little bit lighter, and then, by day 3, day 4, you're kind of feeling pretty groggy and everything. Food is a big thing, so make sure you get there, figure out your calories and everything like that, and just throw it in there. And typically I stay around 3,000 calories a day, and just throw it all into this bag and make sure that I eat it all by the end of the day. For spoon, this is the Peak Refuel, just long spork, pretty simple, and they're relatively pretty lightweight and everything, so I like having that in there. And then for hydration, this is the Protect Hydration and Rest. Started using these last year and loved them. Definitely very good with performance and everything like that. Hydration is key when you're backpacking. You're going to have a lot of times when you're sweating, especially huffing up the mountain, be dumping a lot of salt. You want to be able to replenish it with hydration to, some kind of replacement. But Protect is something I've been using last year and really liked it. Then also the Rest. So you get back to the tent, you're pretty tired and everything, but being able to knock one of these back, when you're backpacking, it's already difficult to sleep in general. So just bring some sort of rest replacement and stuff like that, or supplement, and knock you out so you get a good night's sleep and ready to start hitting the hills again. But yep, that's just a good quick little rundown of my water and food system, and it's good to go. Alright, so onto the kill kit and what I'm going to be using this spring, and kind of what I use every spring. For game bags, this is our Kifaru hybrid game bag kit, so it's going to be 4 game bags and then 1 scrap bag, and then also you can use this as another meat bag and stuff like that. The reason for that, in like different states will have different laws for bears. Like Wyoming, you don't have to keep any of the meat, you pack out the hide. Montana, you have to keep the meat and the hide. For me, in any state that I'm going to be in, I'm going to be packing out the meat and the hide. So I like having the extra game bags and stuff like that for quarters, and then also being able to throw hide into 1 full game bag. The hybrid kit is meant for like that deer species, so perfect for bears and stuff like that. So I have that in my pack, and obviously very durable, and I've loved these game bags. For knives, this spring I'm going to be using the Frontiersman. This is their Ridgeline Lupus knife. Obviously a fixed blade and anything, I always want to carry a fixed blade with me, at least for breaking down animals and knocking off quarters. But yeah, excited to use this year. This is the Frontiersman Ridgeline Lupus. And then I always have the Taito Finisher TI. This is a skeletonized blade here that attaches with Havalon blades. I'll just go to Sportsman and stuff like that and pick up these blades. These are the 60A. I found these to be my favorite, at least for skinning and stuff like that. This is just a good surgical blade, so these are very sharp, so make sure you're very careful putting these on or taking them off. But this will be my bino harness, so I'll have 5 blades and the Taito itself, and put it in the back of my bino harness. Just easy to be able to grab and have it. But that's the other knife that I carry. And then for sharpening system, this is just the Work Sharp, little sharpener. You can get these at really any store. But just have that in my pack to touch up my fixed blade and stuff like that. And then for tags, this is our Kifaru Backcountry tag wallet. Always have this in my pack. You always want to have it in your pack or you're in trouble. But just have that there. I have all my tags in there. Being able to have that in top lid of your pack or something, pull it out, ready to go. Hopefully I'll be opening this a lot this spring. And then last, I always have a contractor bag in the bottom of my pack. This is for multiple uses. Obviously, for emergency uses, you can throw this over, keep you dry and stuff, and if you don't forget your rain jacket and stuff like that. But for this, and my main use for this for bear hunting, I like to be able to line my pack. If I'm packing out an animal, I always like to throw meat inside the bag. And bears are very greasy and stuff like that, so they'll stain your packs pretty good. So I always like to line it just throw that, all the meat inside this, put it into the bag and start hauling. For solo hunting and stuff like that, you can lay this out and use it as a tarp as well to put quarters on and everything like that, especially for elk. I like using this, but one thing that will always be in my pack for every single hunt is going to be a contractor bag. Just throw in the bottom, super lightweight. You'll never even know it's there. But yep, it's just a good rundown of my kill kit and why I kind of carry what I carry. But there we go. Alright, so onto my safety kind of slash emergency kit. This is what's going to always be in my bag for any backpack hunt or any just general day hunts. As far as going for fire, I always like to keep 2, Bic lighters inside my bag, just being able to start a fire real quick. And sometimes I'll end up with 5 because I forget that I have them in there and just keep adding them. But I always like to have at least 2 inside my bag ready to go. And then for fire, this is Vaseline and cotton balls just in a jar here. Super easy, just go to your CVS or Walgreens and stuff like that, pick up, a little tub of Vaseline and cotton balls, and just super easy and nice, being able to light it up. It lights up quick and then burns for a while. Have never had any issues with this. And then for messaging systems and everything, this is the Garmin InReach Mini. I've loved this thing and have had it for several years now. Hasn't never failed me, but there's also the Garmin InReach Mini 2 now, which I imagine is a good system, or Zoleo, which like Colton uses, and it works great. But at least for me, I've always been using this InReach Mini, and just keep using it until it's done. But have that in my pack ready to go. And then for headlamps, my primary headlamp, this is the Phoenix HL32RT. Started using this last year and it's been awesome. Holds the charge really well, and just lasts a while. Super bright light when you're hiking around. Has a red light and stuff like that. But it works well. Has been great for me last year, and I'm just going to continue to use it into this season. But I always carry a backup headlamp, and this is the Black Diamond Astro. I think it's 300 lumens. Just being able to have another backup headlamp in there, I never really have to use it with one charge on this. But these are rechargeable, so when I get back to the tent and stuff like that, I can plug it in, charge them back up. But for a hunt that's like 3 days and stuff like that, I never have to recharge them or anything. But I just always like to have a backup in there, have a primary that's in my pack, and then this one's kind of pretty deep in there. And then for safety kit and everything like that, this is the Backcountry kit from Uncharted Supply. Has everything in there, for repairs and stuff like that, and especially if you get a cut and everything, you have a tourniquet. Thankfully, I've never had to use this, but I always going to carry it in my pack now because hunting with other people, anything can happen. Luckily, I've never had that happen, but it's always nice to have at the ready. I used to hike around and be pretty dumb when I was younger and just never have anything in there. Thankfully, didn't have a situation, but if I'm going to be hiking around and just going to have others with me especially, I'm going to have some sort of safety kit inside my bag, and obviously you can see it's very small, just being able to throw in a pocket and at the ready. So just make sure, do your research, and try to be prepared as much as you can. But this is all the stuff that's in my pack for at least safety kit and kind of emergency style. But we'll go on to what's next. Okay, so on to my miscellaneous gear and kind of stuff that I have inside my pack, and then also on to gaiters. But we'll start off with like toiletry and everything like that. This is the Dude Wipes, just a packet of it. Been carrying these for many years and just nice. I like having wet wipes just for multi-purpose of cleaning up, from the bathroom, but also cleaning yourself. You can do a little wipe down shower or cleaning off your hands if you've got blood. One thing to mention, in the cold weather temps, especially early spring or later into the fall, these will freeze and you can't use them, so you can bring a roll of toilet paper and be good to go. But that's just my toiletry cleaning setup. And then going under battery packs, this is the Dark Energy Poseidon. Using these for several years, and these ones literally for several years, and they've been very solid. Keeps a charge, pretty durable. And for a 2 to 3 day trip, I'm usually just bringing one. Don't really have to charge my phone much or my headlamp. Just being able to get back, have these ready to go, and I know they're not going to fail. But for multi-day trips and 5 days plus, I'll bring 2 of them. Just being able to go through them and everything, and they're pretty strong. And then for cordage, I just bring 20 feet of paracord. That's for hanging animals or anything, towards that way. And then also, if you want to hang your food in bear country, you can use this. And just for repairs, like if you need to jimmy rig something together, you can always have cord with you. For tarps, this is our Kifaru sheep tarp. Very good and very solid. It's going to be a staple in my pack in the springs or later into fall when you're getting unpredictable weather, rain, snow, it's going to be sunny. Just being able to pop this up, and for multiple conditions, like if it's super sunny out, you can pop it up. If it's pouring rain, you can pop it up. It's nice for one person in gear, but also you can fit 2 people under there. This is something that's a staple in my pack for any spring hunt, especially going into that early spring. But it's compact, sucks down really well. Just throw it in the pack, you don't even know it's there. And then onto trekking and trekking pole. This is the Mountain Gear Mountain Stick. Pretty tried and true for me for several years now, if you've seen in any sort of content that I've been in. Pretty durable. Obviously you can see I've beat the piss out of it, and been good for me. Just multi-facets I can do with it, pop anything up, dig out beds. Just pretty good staple piece that's always going to be with me on any sort of mountain hunt. And then onto gaiters, and something I'm actually trying out this year. I've been using them in the spring, as you can see already. Just mud everywhere, just looking for sheds and just scouting country. This is the Peaks, I think the Storm Castle. Started using it this year and I've been loving it so far, and just keep testing it throughout the year and how much I like it. I've always been an outdoor research crocodile guy, and that has worked very well for me. But just want to try something out, try new gear, and so far so good. And I'll report back at the end of the year and see how well they are. But yep, that's just a good rundown of my miscellaneous gear, and thank you guys. Alright guys, so that's the spring bear hunting gear list that I'm going to be running this season. I'm excited to get out in the mountains and chase bears, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out through Instagram. Just shoot me a DM, ask away, and I'll answer any questions of the gear that I'm using and more in depth on why. If you guys are loving these gear list videos, feel free to comment below on anything that you want to be covered. You know, that's summer scouting, you know, mule deer, elk, anything like that. I'd love to do them for you guys. You know, I love this stuff. I love gear, and giving any feedback I can to people is pretty awesome. So feel free to reach out to any platform and answer your questions. But thank you guys for watching, and hope you guys have a good one.